Are we recording? I'm not seeing. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So, hey, everyone. Ashley Smith here with reopennc. I have the pleasure tonight of having Senator Carl Ford on as our special guest. He is from District 33 of North Carolina. And I'd just like to start off by saying around the beginning of April, it was Senator Ford and Senator Daniels' posts on Facebook about the possibility of this extension and the shutdown continuing through June that actually inspired the creation of this group. And so I don't think Senator Ford knew that before tonight, but I just wanted to definitely let him know that we were following his Facebook page and Senator Daniels' Facebook page very closely. And so that was kind of our aha moment. We've got to do something to use our voices. So thank you so much, sir, for taking your time this evening to be with us and answer some of our questions.
Yes, ma'am. Glad to be here.
All right. Well, I'll just start with if you could just tell us, a little bit about this bill, the Freedom Act, and just kind of go into a little bit about how this is beneficial.
I think it's beneficial because if nothing else, it shows that we are concerned, we are doing something, and we're meeting every day. People don't realize that. The Republicans in the Senate caucus, we're meeting every day, and everybody is on board with this and on board with anything else we can do to get things going again, the restaurants, the barbershops, everybody back to work, because it's so important. It's killing our economy. We've got businesses in our district that are telling us they're closed and they will never reopen. And so it's sad. It's really sad. We've got doctors telling us that for the first time ever, general practitioners are having people coming in saying they're having mental problems, and they've never had those problems before because they've been employed for 30, 40 years, and for the first time in their lives, they're unemployed. And wasn't their choice, wasn't their boss's choice. It was one man's choice, the governor. And so it inspired us to do this, and we hope to do a few other things too, and move on. It's got some small fines and fees in it. And if you notice an appropriation on the second page of the bill for $5,000, we had to do an appropriation to make the bill legal. And so you have to appropriate some funds, to get it cooking. And that's what we did.
Well, good. Well, we're so thankful to see this step being made. And we were just reading the administrative team today. We were reading about just the unemployment and kind of the devastating effects and the death rate increasing and suicide rates going up and mental health and just abuse and domestic violence. And so it really is just such a multifaceted issue, and it's affecting everybody at this point. So we're just so glad to see this step. So that kind of answered why you're drafting it and why this is being done is because you feel like it's, necessary and a good move.
Right. It's very important. We went from hearing from people, our number one issue in our office was unemployment. And that's still important because over 1 million people are now unemployed. And the governor is over that whole department right there. And it's been a debacle. They were going to increase their call center and the number of people, the number of servers, and whether they've done it or not, we don't know. Governor's not communicating very well with us. He wasn't communicating at all with us until we got back into session, and then he seemed to wake up a little bit. And till you folks started coming to Raleigh, that definitely helped too. And so there's so much going on now that now it's everybody's saying we want to get back to work. The number one issue was unemployment, and it's still up there. But what's taken over that is people calling us, what can we do? Because we want to go back to work. Some are on unemployment, some are not. They just want to go back to work. Some are working, half the hours they were before.
Right.
And that's what everybody's saying. What can we do? And a lot of them say, we may not ever get back to normal. We don't know, but we'd like to head in that direction.
Right. We'd like to at least start seeing movement that way.
Yes.
Well, I will say it's so good to hear that our efforts are, being felt, because sometimes from this side of the movement, it's hard to tell, if it's being effective or not, or what we're doing. So, and I'm just so glad to hear that. And I know that many of our members will be very pleased to hear their efforts.
I'd like to see us have 10 or 20,000 in Raleigh. That would really get the message across.
I agree.
And because the message got through about the flags.
Yes, sir, it did.
Yeah, the next day he had flag. All of us were asking about that. What's going on? Because all the other government buildings, the flags are flown 24/7, 365.
Yes, sir.
So we didn't know what was happening there. Kind of strange.
Well, that was obviously a big deal for me, so I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful that I had a friend go by the next day that said, "Hey, I've got to tell you, the flags are up this morning. I guess you were heard."
Yep.
Wasn't really the means I'd like to have had to go by, but you know, I guess whatever it takes.
Yes.
All right. Well, so what do you? I guess then that will lead into the next question. Kind of, what do you think about the state reopening? What would you like to see? Do you have suggestions about? You know, everyone asks me all the time during interviews, what would I do if I were governor? So it's kind of interesting to be on this side of the question. But what would you do if, you know, how would you reopen the state? Or
well, first of all, I don't know. I don't have all the information he has. I'll admit that. However, I don't know if I'd have been governor, if I'd have even closed at all. And if I had, there would have been a plan from the get-go, and maybe a couple of weeks, a month max. And before I would announce that, I would have made sure my Department of Employment Security could handle the influx of those that were unemployed. That would have been the first thing I'd have done, and then gone from there. And then I think some people want to ease back into it. At this point, I'm fine with that. However, a lot of us just want to rip the Band-Aid off real fast and go back at it. If the sun kills the virus, if the CDC told us this week, get outside or open your windows to your house and get fresh air, and they also said, don't wear masks, that's the CDC. So I think we need to get back at it and get back to normal. If I had been governor, if I'd have shut down at all, it wouldn't have been but probably 4 weeks max to get a handle on it. But now at this point, what are you going to do? If we don't build that herd immunity, and by the time we get into the fall and winter, then things could be worse. And are we going to shut down again this time for 6 months? The economy and the people and their mindset can't handle that.
No, and I mean, you just made so many good points there. So I just want to applaud you for everything you just said. I feel like I've been saying a lot of that, and so it's good to hear it coming from somebody of your, you know, caliber. So yeah, I think now that just leads me to the next question is, with this bill, you know, the likelihood of it being vetoed is our understanding that it's kind of a high likelihood that it won't pass. And so can you speak to that?
Well, it'll go like any other bill. It'll go to committee, or maybe 2 committees, possibly 3. That's the way most bills go, because there are checks and balances for everything. And then it passes those committees. It goes to the Senate floor. And I'm sure there'll be an exciting and very long debate, including the Democrats trying to talk through their mask. And it should pass. Then it'll go to the House, start the process all over again. And I would assume there it will pass. And then it goes to the governor. He has 10 days to either sign the bill, not sign the bill, let it go into law, or veto the bill. And I'm assuming he would veto it. And if he does, it comes back to the Senate to see if you can override the veto. And at that time, you would need every Republican and then either 1 Democrat to vote with you or 2 to be absent. And then if that were to happen, it would go to the Senate. They would need all the Republicans plus 7 Democrats to vote with them, or 8 Democrats to be absent. So chances of it passing are pretty slim. We understand that. But at the same time, we've got to get this debate going. We've got to talk about it. Last week, most everybody wanted to come together, sing Kumbaya, and pass the COVID bill with all the federal money in it. Okay, that's over with.
Right.
Now it's time to get down to the real work and see if we can get people back to work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So what can we do as a group and kind of as a movement? How can we help? How can we, how can we act on this bill? Where can we make calls, or do you have any advice to offer us as a group?
I've got some advice. If people will listen, you can really communicate with your elected officials. You don't want to send these boilerplate cookie cutter emails that they all say the same thing with a different name at the end. It's going to go to a junk file. I don't care if you send 20,000 of them. If you send 1,000 and they're all from individuals, especially to their elected representative, you're going to get a lot more traction. And you don't have to be overly nice, but it doesn't help it doesn't help if you're a little nasty on there, is what I'm saying. However, we get those. I can deal with those too. Most everybody else can. But if you're trying to, get the guys on your side, that's the way to do it, and to contact them and be as nice as you can. Up to a point, I understand. Hey, before I got elected to office, I was not as friendly sometimes with some of the elected officials because you get frustrated. And I understand that. You think your voice isn't being heard. There's a way for it to be heard, and there's a way for it to just, people will go, holy cow, I don't want to hear that. So if you just contact people and have individuals, and I'll tell you something that you may not think of. It's from way back. Send a letter, because nobody sends letters anymore. So trust me, when a senator or representative sends the letter, they go, wow, they open it, they read it. Right. Because it's something that doesn't happen anymore. Right. And so it's pretty neat to get one of those, especially if it's handwritten and signed. Yeah. So think about that. And then, especially when it goes from one chamber to the next, be an encouragement and start to encourage the guys. We appreciate your help. Appreciate you being concerned about our thoughts and our ideas. And that's the way to do it. And again, I'm not saying that all these guys can't take a beating or a tongue lashing, but there's been a lot of that going on lately. So they might need a little encouragement. This is the thing. This is what we've been waiting for, because I've heard all the guys saying, man, we're getting chewed out every day. Why aren't you doing anything? And they're trying to explain to people what we can and can't do. And most people don't really want to hear that. They just want to hear, what are you doing? So be an encouragement.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I know I've personally called my Senator Daniel many times, and over this ordeal even, and there have been days I've called and his poor assistant has said, what does this woman want today? I'm on a first name basis with her. I hear her voice and I'm, oh God, she's calling me again. But then, he's done some really great things, and I've called him and said, hey, I just want to say thank you. I just want to say thank you, because
that's what you should do. Call or send an email and send a letter and start out with, I just want to thank you for considering this, and go from there. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'll just thank you on behalf of our group for, being a voice for, I think, this movement, even from the very beginning. And I know you didn't maybe know that. So
I did.
And now, we've watched closely what's going on with the legislature. So we're going to keep watching closely. Are the rallies helping? Do you think we should keep coming back to Raleigh?
I think so, unless, and this is my opinion, unless the crowds go down to where the other side will say, they're not serious about it. Right. They were never serious about it. Look at that. They can't. And then you hear the factions of the group, they can't get along, so they're fractured. So, yeah, I would keep it going, especially if we can get thousands here. When it gets hundreds and less,
it's taken less seriously.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So you guys hear that? Come back Tuesday in mass. That's the way to do it. So
now the General Assembly won't be here next Tuesday. Skeletal sessions, I'll be here and a few others. But, then they come back in mass on May 18th.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. And so can we look forward to this kind of moving through after May 18th then? So as of right now, we'll just kind of be standstill. So now's the time to be calling, emailing, and sending letters. And when you guys get back, you'll have all that waiting for you.
Right. And they need to understand that nothing will start going on this even through committee until May 18th.
Okay.
That's when it'll start. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Do you have anything else that you'd like to share with us? Or I think that was all my questions.
No, y'all just keep going. We'll try to keep encouraging you. You guys are encouraging us, and let's keep it going and stay together on this.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. I really appreciate your time this evening and all your words of encouragement and your hard work on this. We're with you.
Let's reopen NC.
Let's reopen NC. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good night.